Also, wow, this is a little bit over that way. Yeah, I'm usually like dead center-ish, so that's actually better. But hi, how you guys doing? Hope everybody's well. Wednesday, my arm thankfully seems to stop the... Oh no, if I press on it, that's still a little bit sore. Had to go get poked for a thing. Although, actually this is like the least painful of getting poked that I've had in a very long time. Because I have wee little veins, so every time that I get poked, it's usually the, hey, we can't find a vein. Fun times. Which obviously I will not go into detail because, you know, blood and stuff, and let's just say I hate it every time. But this was actually the smoothest that it's happened, and I'm just like, huh. The soreness didn't happen till after, so I'm guessing like that area was just like, doesn't appreciate getting poked. So that's a thing. But other than that, not terribly much in the way of eventfulness happening. Had my tea, which was some Earl Grey tea, so I am set in a caffeine department, and as you can see, based on the fact that I'm a little bit farther away than usual, we are not doing digital art today, although I do have some digital art I want to do, although I need to fiddle around with my Krita app because the program does not want to do the pressure sensitivity, and I think I might have to downgrade to the previous version. I'm not sure what the hell's going on, because I didn't have any issues to the stupid update, so I might see about downgrading, because I've tried the other fixes yesterday and it did not work, so I'm not sure what's happening. So if I downgrade, that might help. We will see. But I'll probably do that offline, so no arting for today, at least not on here, although arguably I could have gone to Autodesk Sketchbook Pro, because I had a version I downloaded before they started charging $20 for it. Or at least on, what's his face? Ooh. Microsoft shop thing? Yeah, Microsoft Store, I am correct. I'm never in there, so I almost never remember what the hell its name is. But yeah. Also, let me empty the cup while I remember. Da 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 da. Where is the thing to empty the cup? Alright, cool. Cup should be empty. Which I really do want to custom draw my own thing, but I do not have the time. Although I arguably could sketch something, but don't have the time. But given I don't have much to chat about, let me just go over here. Also, let me not have my phone over here, which I forgot about because I try not to have that on screen, and I'd rather not accidentally dock myself via the weather app. But luckily the part that tells you where I am, I think that was covered. Yeah, because it's usually on the left side of the thing. Yeah, that part was covered. Cool. Yay! Somehow did not dox myself. Awesome. Despite my accidental best efforts. Let's see. Also, it's a little bit dark. So, let's see. I'm gonna turn up the... Yeah, the gain's almost... Okay. Then why weren't you this bright before? Oh, and I hadn't... Jeez. I am off my game. I thought I'd completely set this thing up, but I didn't. But that's better. Anyhow, I might have to change the saturation, but I have a bunch of oil pastels that I've had sitting here, which these are from Freckle Fiberworks, Liz. She had given me these the same time, about the same time she had given me the chainmail stuff, which the chainmail stuff you obviously see me use a lot more, but I haven't used these oil pastels because I wasn't sure what the heck to do with them. Plus, at that point in time, I didn't have any fixative to, like, prevent the stuff from smudging after a while, which I've had this sitting here for quite some time, but I just haven't had the chance to use it. Which, arguably, based on the minor bit of research I've done, essentially this stuff is kind of like, say, oil paint in the fact that it doesn't really dry terribly much. Also, yeah, slight smell to it, like oil paint would too. Also, Bams! Thank you for the host. How are you doing? How goes Wednesday? I am just chatting. Hope everything is well. Have not gotten started to working with these. Not bad. My arm doesn't hate me terribly much. Got poked in my arm for a thing. I was just saying that literally it was the smoothest one that I've done in a very long time. Because normally, I'm in agony the entire time. Because it sucks. But it did not even hurt. Knit with the kids and some coffee. Yay, coffee! I finished my tea. I had some Earl Grey tea. And I realized it was the best temperature for me. So I was like, let me drink this before I go live. Or risk it going cold. Earl Grey. Yeah. With quite a bit of bergamot in there, which apparently that's what makes Earl Grey, which I wasn't aware of. Anyhow, what was I saying? Yeah, these, long drying time, oolong and, I have a oolong chocolate chai that I'm trying not to drink the entire thing so quickly. Because I'm in love with it, plus unfortunately it comes from Australia. So it would take forever to get here if I'd buy any more to replace it. Which it was gifted. I'm not sure what the hell I'd be drawing. I might just draw some flowers, because that's usually how it goes for me. But what I saw about these oil pastels, the technical thing is, if you're going to use them dry, pastels in general, it'd be best to use something like, say, pastel paper, which I guess arguably kind of like sandpaper. Like, it has some tooth to it in order to get the pastels to grip onto the paper. But if you're going to use, like, any sort of solvent of any kind, it's best to use something like, say, mixed media or watercolor paper, which this is watercolor paper I have cut into, like, half that I've had sitting over there. I have two pads, like, one of them's barely halfway finished. So I have, like, paper for days in that regard. This is not the best paper, but it's good enough paper. Plus, I want to see if it can handle anything. What is it? I think poster board or something along those lines is also an option. But let me just sketch out a thing so I can get in some bits here and there. Which, since we're talking about tea and coffee, I could always just sketch in a thing of a cup here. Yeah, right there. That's why I'm trying to go a little bit light. Although, arguably, that's not light enough. It's a thing I tend to do every so often anyway, so it's not a surprise that I'm doing it at all. Although I tend to feel like I don't get the coffee or tea, what I tend to put in there, correct. So that's my only real issue when it comes to this. Alright. Also, what did I do with my eraser? Because I usually have a kneaded eraser. Reference, yeah. That's what I have my Pinterest for. Like, a bunch of references of stuff and things. But sometimes I like to try and see what I come up with out of my head first. Also, I'm gonna go look for this thing. Where is it? It should be somewhere. I saw it yesterday. But yesterday and today are two different things. Come on. Where you be? I saw it yesterday. Oh, here it is. Yay! Cool. So I'll probably want to lighten that up a little bit. I saw it. That's the thing. I just didn't take it up when I was getting myself set up because I was running around trying to find everything. You would think I'd learned by now. I have not. I have not at all. Okay. Almost lightly. Trying to be as light as I can get this. So I can... Yeah, you can barely see that on camera. Which is, that's kind of the point. Hopefully this goes well. Let's see. And do I want... Yeah, a table. And maybe sewing system there right behind the sewing machine right oh no. I would do the same, so fair. Very much fair. I was gonna do flowers, but I could arguably do a second one with some flowers in there, so But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to lighten this to avoid the graphite bleeding in here, because that'll probably make things a mess. Alright, and one. Alright, and then I can keep that there right here. Gonna lurk. No worries, thank you for the lurk. I very much appreciate you. Also, yeah, I knew that looked weird. I knew that looked weird. Okay, that's slightly better. And those lines are a little bit off. So that doesn't look too straight to me. Yeah. I knew that looks a little bit awkward. So I want to have an idea of where everything should go. Although, arguably with pastels, you tend to go for, I feel like, a bit more abstract rather than, you know, very detail-oriented. In comparison to, say, like, you know, color pencils, or anything of that sort. Alright, and that should hopefully... But let me go over this just a little bit to make sure. Once I lighten it, I know where I'm going. So I don't want to blur over. Alright. And then maybe like get a sunflower. Also, I haven't drawn it all today, so arguably this is going to be my warm-up thing. Which is probably not the best idea when you're trying something new, but at the same time, it's arguably the best way to learn. If you're trying to figure out things. Yeah. Nope. Do I want them layering on top of each other, or can they just be right next to each other? Because arguably this could be, you know, a sunflower, but I just have it be non-typical sunflowery colors. Which, if this does work out how I want it to, this would be a fun medium to do. Alright, gently. Yeah, for smaller spaces, this is probably better. Even though these are not the best erasers. Oops. And then... Alright, I think that's well enough. Yeah, that's well enough right now. So, let me just add a little bit of a bold line here. So when I lighten it, I know where that is. And then, let's just lighten this up a little bit. Arguably, I should probably tape this down, but I'm not sure how much, you know, stuff I'm gonna use, so presumably it probably shouldn't buckle. But we'll see how that goes. Alright. Alright. That should suffice enough. Because I'm more lightening in the case of, like, the solvent could potentially interact with the graphite in the pencil and cause things to color in weird ways. Although, arguably, that's more in the lines of, like, me with, like, watercolor pencils. Because that does happen. If I don't erase enough. Alright, so where do I want to start with color-wise? I have a lot of blues and greens, which, when it comes to art sets, they like to have a lot of blues and greens. It's ridiculous. I mean, yes. It's hard to mix your own blues and greens and get them to... Well, actually, no. There's no mixing blue. Blue is a primary, but green. It's very annoying to mix green and get it to come up the same way twice. It's infuriating, actually. Alright, let's see. Alright, and... yeah. I do love that these have individual section trays. Definitely makes life a wee bit easier. And let's see how you do. I could use this for the frame. I was looking into the art of drawing book that I have and to look at how they do it Pastels. And I said you could probably do like hatching sort of deal. Which especially so at this point given, you know, you haven't nubbed it down yet, I imagine. That would probably work pretty well. And yeah, about here is about where that is. And then, let's see, there's a little bit more frame here. Which, it's kind of amusing that I went with pink being the first color. And I am not a pink person, as I proclaim loudly every single time that I end up using pink. Okay, yeah, this is not like the other one, so it's not gonna be as easy to blend without a solvent of some kind. Which, in this case, it's baby oil I just have here, which you can use for breaking it down in that. And that smooths it out a little bit. Which, if there were like actual regular pastels, you could probably be able to use your hand to blend it. And it would work out pretty well. Yes, your hands would be covered in the dust from it, but it would work out well. Let's see. Alright, so given the frame is pink, I'm gonna need something that's definitely not pink. I know, astounding feats of deduction. Let's see, although I can arguably still use the center as like maybe a dark blue and see how that works out. What color is this? Okay, it's a blue. Really dark blue, I'd say. Which I have not swatched these, so I'm kind of going in blind in the way of colors. Which is usually not something recommended. So that and maybe one of these shades of purple. In order to at least keep it somewhat together. Yeah, it transfers a bit. That makes sense because that's darker than that. Let's see. Yeah, probably the other side of the yet. I was gonna try and use rubbing alcohol, but the rubbing alcohol has like a green tint. You can always get like clear rubbing alcohol for this, but which definitely I prefer that. But we have the green one, and I didn't want the green to potentially affect whatever color I used that weren't green or blue. Maybe a light bit of... No. Well, actually, blue and orange are complementary, so that wouldn't be bad. Plus, it's still in relation with the pink, because, you know, red is related to both of these colors. And also, let me make sure that I am paying attention to where the steam is coming from that I have here. which I think it's about there. Yeah. I don't want to go over that line. Also, it's getting a wee bit dark over here. Why? Let me go get lamp. Although this lamp is a pain in the ass at this point rather than a help. Okay. That's better. Okay, yeah, I was right about where that would be. Although, yeah, this doesn't really have a gray in there. I might have to go see about getting dabs of the black in here and, like, lightening out to get that gray color I'm looking for. Alright. Use the... Yeah, I don't have a lot of this. If this weren't oil, like if these were like regular pastels, I would consider using water, but given these are oil, that's not an option, so that's fun. This definitely helps smooth out any sort of seams going on. Alright. Oh wow, even out here still not really dry yet, but I think I used more out here. Let me go see if I find any more baby oil or something to get in here, because I thought I had more than that, but I did not. But I'll leave it right there. Okay, couldn't find any more of that, so rubbing alcohol it is, even though, you know, the color's gonna probably fuck with things. I really hope not. We'll see what happens. My other reason is that the rubbing alcohol has a smell to it that I don't really want to deal with. But too late for that. Whoops. Went outside where my lines are gonna be. I have to wait for that to dry and let the... put a bit more pink in there, maybe. Alright. So I'll leave that for there. Which pink did I use? I think I used this light pink here. So I can go over this just a little bit. Yeah, this is the pink I used. Okay, cool. Alright, and gently. Alright. What color am I going to use for this then? Because that's going to be the majority of what takes up the space here. Although, I'd have to figure out a background color too. Might have to be something dark in order to counteract the brightness of back here. Maybe this mixed with a purple, but I'll probably have to put down the purple first in order to make sure stuff doesn't go on. Oops. I think that went out the line. Or is like really, really close to it. Which I'm trying to be careful. Okay, yeah, just about out the line, so I got lucky. Yay! Come on with a bit of this. Yeah, it's a bit more blue than I wanted, but I can go over that at least a little bit of purple. See how that goes. I honestly was not sure what the heck I was gonna do today. I'll be real honest with you. Again, I have a bunch of different things I could work on. Like, the wallpaper's still not done, but I need to get that done and put that in the Ko-fi shop, which, as you can guys see, I have a wee little Ko-fi shop thing over there. So, like, say if someone happens to tip me and or get something from the shop, which, yes, there is a small Ko-fi shop that I have. It's mostly digital, because I have a couple digital wallpapers. But I also have some donut pins, which also exist in there. And I also want to put the heart hat pattern on there. But I've just been really busy on getting those sizes tested. because that was a thing I wanted to do since last year. But I think the whole ye old plague kind of zapped a bit of creativity on my part, which is very much annoying, but, you know, an event like that, it makes sense. Oh yeah, it's starting to buckle, but I am putting a bit on this on here. Also, I can't rub too hard because this is not the best watercolor paper. Like if I had arguably gotten a little bit thicker of a paper, like the stuff that's like really close to cotton, that stuff is thick, I would have at least a little bit more room for blending. Yeah, it's really starting to smell like rubbing alcohol. If I rub too much, this stuff is going to start pilling and breaking away, so trying to avoid doing that too much. I'd rather not peel the paper. Did I color the inside? No, I did not. Let's see. It was this color and some blue. Although, I'll need to make sure I remember where the steam is to avoid going in those areas. And then, remember, like, right about there, the other piece. Although, it does not need to be perfect, so, eh. And then go over that with a bit more purple. And the inside is definitely a bit more purple than the outside currently. Which I'll probably, once that's dry enough, as dry as it's gonna get, likely go over that with, you know, a wee bit more purple. And oh, I haven't charged that in a while, so that's a problem. I would love to not need to get up to do things every 5 minutes. That would be great. And okay, battery pack and that thing here. And there it is. I know that battery pack's not full, so hopefully that'll last me at least till break. So I'm gonna go here. Oops, that just went right in there, but not terribly far. Although, was that this orange I used? I don't remember which orange I used. Oops. No, that's a bit too dark. I think that's this one. Yeah. This was the orange. And then I'll need to... I think I prefer the baby oil, because it definitely gives a smoother finish to it in relation. Makes it look a little less of a mess in comparison. Although I'm very much glad that the green of the thing is not messing with everything. Alright, let's see. Do I want to go in here, or do I want to go out here? Yeah, out here is arguably the larger area, so I can cover that, and then... Well, yeah, that's really wet. Oops. I did not need to do that. I can maybe go with a bit more of this phthalo blue, or I can give it a warmth of a brown and allow for some contrast to go on in there. Which there's at least a couple of browns. Sepia, it's definitely more of a skin tone. Maybe this one. Which one is this? Van Dyke Brown, although that's really dark, if I recall. Oh, this is a red here. What if I mix these two? Although, yeah, it's really dark brown. Because this is the same brand as the watercolor pencils. So I already knew more than likely what this color was going to look like. So I might give it a touch of a red of some kind. So it's not just, you know, dark brown. Oh, I missed the handle. Whoops. I forgot the handle exists. That's a problem. Well, not like a disaster sort of a problem. Jane! Hi! How you doing? How goes your Wednesday? I'm here playing around with oil pastels, because that's what I'm in the mood for, apparently. Because Liz gave me these a while back. I decided, let me just play around with these today. They said, no, I'm sorry. Also, I realized once I saw that you weren't your other name, you were home. I was hoping it was just a random day off, not still being sick. I really do hope you get better, because that is not good, an entire week. Took Friday off, tried to work Monday, but it was, oh. Yeah, definitely better if you rest. If your body says no. But is this some sort of, like, prolonged cold or something? Because at least what it sounds like to me. So maybe on the other... Hopefully. Definitely fingers crossed. And I'm like, where the hell would you get this from? But I'm like, the only way you would really get anything for the most part is... like, somewhere in the school, really. Because I know you're not traveling around terribly much, because, you know, ye old plague. Especially down there. Alright, careful. Do hope that you're continuing to feel better. That seriously sucks. And then come in with a little bit of dark. And some spots here. I'll be back, no worries. I'm just filling in spots of color here. Although I have not decided what the rest of the background color will be anyway. So that's something I need to do at some point. Also, I could definitely feel a little bit of residue on my hands, which I'm not surprised. Although at least my hands don't look that terrible. They're a little dark. And then trying to keep myself a little bit light on the blue, so you'll definitely see hints of it, but just not, you know, a ton of it. I think that's this one. But yeah, at this rate, I guess I'm gonna have to buy myself some baby oil as a blender of some kind. Which, it makes sense that this would work much better, given this is an actual oil. So it should feasibly work with that a lot better. Oh, and starting the pill. Crap. Right there. Because I knew I heard a sound, which that might be it. Which, it's still wet, so it's going to be a little bit fragile. So that would make sense. This one has oil in it, so I'm trying to use the opportunity to get this to blend a little bit in spots, but making sure I take heed as to not rub too hard. Oh, that's not even dry, so it's coming off on my hands. That's great. The pink is coming off on my hands. Alright, and yeah, I should get a paper towel and put these on to avoid messing up the thing here. But we'll see. Let me layer a little bit more of this orange. Which you can still see the color pencil in here. But considering I haven't layered much of the orange yet, it would make sense you would still be able to see the pencil. Alright, I think it was not this, I think this here, and then yeah, this one. Let me just... Oh, so this is not breaking up like the other one, so I'm wondering if this was even the right thing to use. Let me double check. Let's see. Methods of... Actually, I could just use my laptop since I'm on it, so that would probably be smarter. Also, yeah. Turn down that light a little bit because it's too bright in my goddamn face. Let's see. Don't happen to have any right now on me. So, yeah, that's not a thing I really keep. Plus, you usually want somewhere with really good ventilation, which I would have to have the window open for that, so... That is also a thing. Plus the fan probably on. That stuff is typically quite toxic. Which is why I tend to not use that when it comes to blending. Let's see. Methods of blending. Oil. Pastels. I know water's not gonna work because, yep, baby oil. I know, but I'm almost out of baby oil, so that's a problem. I don't need a video. I would definitely would like a link so I can stare at a thing. Nope. I don't need YouTube. Please don't do that. Yeah, that part I know. Da-da-da. Oh, you could do that. Palette knife, pigment, palette knife. Palette knife, you use your fingers, blend, apply second color. Oh, you could do that too. Color mix, explore, scumbing, amounts of blah, 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 value of their work, excuse blending, select 2 or more colors. And I nearly knocked over this table. That would have been fun. Don't have Tertullian. Ah! Oh, you can use that to blend too. Interesting. Needed rubber. Yeah, I'd rather not ruin mine. Okay, these are a little bit fluffy, but it says I could probably blend with it, so let's see if I just use a dry one. Also, I forgot that was still in there. Oops. Let's see. Yeah, these are dry and like a little bit fluffy. So I don't seem to want to hold together as much as I would like. Let's see. Yeah, you just see it puffing and not really being that effective. Although I think these are not... Like, these have been around for a little while. So that might be why. Yeah, although, let's see. If I do it with my hand... Because then you can use your hand. Okay, that's a little bit more effective. Just a wee bit. But yeah, I swear we have more baby oil around, so I'm probably gonna have to grab some of that when I take my break. And use that, because that seems to be the best method so far of getting the thing to do what I want. Which, let's see. Is that? Yeah. It's dry enough. I can go over this. And then... Alright. I haven't decided what in here is, but I'd rather blend out here first before I even do that. Don't let me... Is it... Yeah, I think I can go over this with another pass of the purple, which this is like lavender color. What color is this? Blue-violet. That's why it meshes together with this so well. But yeah, this is definitely a violet, no, lavender color. Let's see. Come on. gently go over here. Which, speaking of first break, I think it might be pretty soon. First break time, maybe? Other day is pretty mad. Yeah, because this is kind of a fussy medium, I feel like. Plus, you know, you kind of have to have it a certain way, because I don't believe these are, like, too light fast. Although, actually, these should have, like, a light fast rating. Yeah. 3 pluses here, which I think it's, like, 1 being the least light fast, and 3 being the most light fast. Also, what kind of tea are you having? Also, welcome back. I love just adding things as soon as I say the thing. It's like, in addition, here's 5 other things to be said. Plus, I like trying new things, so that is also a plus. Oh wow, this is definitely getting more solid now. So basically, if I'm going to use the other method, like the rubbing alcohol, although I think the rubbing alcohol, this is the older stuff we had, so I think that stuff just might not be fully rubbing alcohol. There might be some water to it, which is probably why it's not doing the thing. So I suspect that's why it's not as effective. Because I didn't want to open a new one. Alright, go over this with a wee bit of purple too. Ooh, yay! I really do want to try some more oolong tea, or at least flavored oolong tea at some point. Which I still have some of the oolong chocolate chai tea that's going on. But given how much of a favorite that is to me, I'm kind of like trying to be good about not drinking the whole thing. Because given it's out of the country where that big tea stash run I'm doing. Nice. Yeah, there's not much space in the kitchen, so I try to have like 3-4 flavors at most at the same time so I can have some options. Because I like having some options depending on, you know, what I want to drink tea-wise for the day. And yeah, I should be taking my break. So I'm probably, once I get this bit a little bit blended, see if I could go find some baby oil to get this to do what I want. And hopefully I'm successful, because I'm pretty sure it should be. If not baby oil, I'd argue Vaseline would probably do the same thing. Because they are kind of similar. Alright. So, that'll leave for now. So, let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm over it. Yep, a couple minutes over the 1 hour mark, so let this hang out here. It's starting to warp a little bit, but not terribly much. So, it's alright for now. And I'm gonna go take my break. So, enjoy the Plinko or the drop game. Second. There we are. Hi, I exist. But yeah, I found some mineral oil. I put like a little bit in one of those eye things I used to have for contacts. Oh, so my laptop's been laggy today. I've been noticing it's been a little laggy in some places and I don't know why. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, found some a little bit of mineral oil and see if that works in lieu of the other stuff. And put it in this little area of one of those little cases that I had for my contacts back when early college I used to have contacts. Which, on rainy days, I did appreciate those. Also, this works really well. Okay. Which, given it's an oil, that would make sense it would work really well. Bams! Thank you for contributing some more points to the community challenge, which thank you for reminding me to mention the community challenge. I realized I hadn't mentioned that in the first hour because I've been doing this, but anybody who is unaware, I am planning to do a bit of gaming for charity, more than likely, I suspect, middle of next month. Kids are wanting more attention. Alrighty. But yeah, planning to do gaming for charity, specifically Project Linus, so my idea is essentially to play 3 or 4 games, four games within my usual stream week, so 1 game per stream. And mostly games I haven't played before to see how that goes. We already have a community challenge for GeoGuessr long done, which you guys smashed that in a week, which was insane. The current one ongoing is Hades, which I've played on my Switch a little bit. I have not played through the entire thing. But I definitely enjoy it. And I do mean to check and see how that goes on the Switch. Not Switch, the PC. Because it was lagging a little bit the last time. So I want to make sure it's not doing any of that to avoid any issues. But yeah, the mineral oil. Look how smooth this is. And I got my hand in it. That's great. Let's see. Yeah, that side's starting to dry a little bit. I'm gonna probably have to make sure I use, like, not too much. Or I'm gonna have to wait for bits of it to dry. Which is very much not helpful. Let's see. I can potentially add little bits of smoke along the edges here. And then use the mineral stuff to, like, have it turn gray once I break up the color. Let's see. The only thing being, once I do that, it's not gonna be able to change, but we're experimenting. It should be fine. Alright. Oh, wow, yeah. Okay, yeah, I definitely should have gone a little bit later on that. Oops. Oh well. At least now I know for future reference. But given this doesn't have, like, an actual gray... Yeah, it's sepia. Yeah, it doesn't have an actual gray. Like, trying to break out the black was literally my best option here. While it's still wet, if I could pick up a little bit of the color, that might help a little bit. Also, I really need to move my hand from this thing so I don't get the stuff on my hands. Alright, do I have any? Yeah, I have tissue. I can just get a piece of tissue and just dab from there and see how that works. I meant to grab some paper towel, because that would pick it up a little bit better, given, you know, it has a little bit of tooth to it. And nope, not that one. There's this one. If I... Yeah, it's not really going to pick up terribly much. Alright, and then come through on the edges of this. I don't really plan to tape this down terribly much. Alright. Well, I do want to see if I can lighten that a little bit, but I don't... Oh wait, I have white. So if I go over that with some of the white here, that might work out, maybe? Yeah. That might work out a little bit. Well, it probably would have been better if I blended the black and the white together. But yeah, that might also help. Because this dark color really makes it look like an evil potion brew, which is not what I'm looking for, but if I get bits of white here and see if I could stop getting my hand in this thing. Okay, this side has definitely at least gotten to somewhat drying. Yeah, it's definitely a thing I have to let dry a little bit. Alright, which one of these? Because I'm trying to avoid using the one that I didn't use for a thing. Avoid mixing the colors where I don't want them to mix. Might need to add another layer of white in here. But this might at least somewhat work. So yay. Yeah, it's still definitely black in spaces, but that's bound to happen. Alright. Let's see. Ah! What did I do? Where's my screen? Oh, there's my screen. Ta-da! Alright, so that's drying. Let's flip this over this way so I don't get my hand in here. I'm starting to get the stuff slightly on my hands. I'm definitely gonna need to scrub my hands off to get the oily residue off of here. That's gonna drive me nuts. Let's see. Ombre. No, burnt umber. Okay. Because English is not the first language on top of where the color is. Which is fine, but I just have to look for it sometimes to know what the heck I'm looking at. Let's see. Sienna. No, I don't want this color. I think I'll take a little bit of this. I want to give this a little color. I hadn't gotten to that yet. Alright, and then get that to blend. And maybe a bit of yellow. Maybe. Like a goldish yellow in here on some bits. Yeah. That would probably work. Alright, let's put that back. Let's see how we do. Oh yeah, I forgot this lightens it up a little bit, so. Wow, it makes it look a little bit brighter than I'd like. Although the camera makes it look a wee bit darker. So that's interesting. Oh, that could be the light reflecting off of this using the stuff that I'm using to break up the oil pastel. Alright, so let that bit dry. Let's go over the smoke thing with a bit more white. That definitely should at least be on the road to drying. So there's that, and let's see. Might add a little pop of white here too on this. I want to at least have an idea of where some light's coming in. No. So I can at least lighten that up just a wee bit. So let's move that out the way. Let's see. Which one of these is the thing? I think that's this one. Yeah, this one. Careful of that area. Let me go over this with even more white. I'm trying to avoid pressing on this too hard. I know I'm definitely pressing on this a wee bit hard. I'd rather not break it. Okay. Alright, so gonna wait a minute before that, and I'm gonna apply a background color and see how I feel. Although, arguably, I'm gonna add a little bit of depth in this frame. Which I went with this color, so maybe this. Oops, I went a wee bit over the line. Oopsie. But it'll be fine. I'll put this so that blends a bit evenly. Okay, I might need a little bit more of this mineral oil, which I think that's just another name for baby oil. That stopped abruptly. I thought the thing broke for a second. That was weird. Because I heard the music just stop for a second. I'm just like, that feels a bit abrupt. Also, you can see this stuff is like really, really, really almost watery in consistency, even though it is oil. Because I already spilled it a little bit on my hand pouring it out. And it's definitely oil, but it's loose enough that it's almost water. Which one is blank? I think that's this one. Alright, so let's just gently use this. I know I said I was gonna apply a background color, but I want to see how this is doing. Also need to be a little bit careful. Because again, this is not the best watercolor paper, so it's gonna start to pill after a while. So, yeah, let's leave that and let that dry. Because trying to work this paper while it's wet is basically a guarantee that the paper will probably rip. So I'd very much have to take heed with that. Alright, so there's that. Do I want to add this as the background color maybe, or of red? given I already have pink and orange, red would probably not hurt, but I think I want to keep it to a different shade of pink, maybe, to avoid too much craziness going on here. So let's see that. These are really tiny spaces, so I'm probably not gonna get much in the way of stuff in there. And let's see about a little bit of yellow going on in here. Although arguably the orange is going to come out on top. Figuratively and metaphorically speaking. Given it's a stronger color. Alright. And then let's see about these wee pink areas here. There we go. Okay, that's dry enough. I can come back. Got a dark highlight here. Again, I'm definitely trying to be careful so I don't mess with the paper, even though I'm kind of already doing that. I did come in with like little bits of that here. And yeah, tiny bit more of that here. And I keep wanting to go over here, even though I know the stuff is right there in my face. Which is very unhelpful. If I had some paintbrushes I didn't like, I could arguably use those and like do this too. Let's see. Am I gonna be able to? No, back there's a little bit dark. So I did do something like that, I would probably have to go straight to black. Yeah, I'd probably have to go straight to black. So I was hoping to get some bits of like texture in there. I got some rings of color, but that's not likely to happen. Oops. Oh well. Alright, so let's put this back. Don't need too many of you guys floating around. Layer a bit more purple in here. I don't want to go over the white too much. Violet blue. Okay, this is violet, so if I do want to maybe go a little bit darker, I can go with that. Let's go right here. It's a good thing I put this bit of cardboard down here, because I knew it'd probably go over the lines. Alright, and grains, color. There we go, a little bit darker back here. Maybes. And no, not this one. Which one would it be? I think not this one. Yeah, that one. I know I could always use more Q-tips, but I'm trying to avoid using too many Q-tips. So if I add like the fixative on top of this, I'd arguably be able to go in with like say some gouache or something, because you know this would separate it, plus you know the oil and the water don't mix, so it would probably not work if I didn't do that anyway. Although once I spray this, place smells like it has like a sickly sweet smell to it, and it's like I'd probably have to like have the window open and or be outside once I spray it. Alright, let's see. What kind of background? Also, this has a nice slight galaxy look to it, which is not what I intended, but I like it. Let's see. Background color, what shall you be? Do I want a light purple, maybe? Given that would break up everything, so yeah, I think I might go with that. I'm gonna go in lightly. Also, I don't think I mentioned that, I think it's Knit Picks, probably both of them. Knit Picks and We Crochet are having a sale, so... Also, Lion Brand, yeah. Lion Brand is having a sale. Today's their last day of having a sale. Because some of their yarn, I believe the re-up is like $1, which I've not used their re-up yarn. The only yarn that I've personally used from them is the stuff that I respin. Which I do enjoy that. Which it's bulky in about 6 ounces, but it also costs like $7 or so. So definitely want to see about potentially spinning acrylic. You can definitely grab that. Which, if you want the Lion Brand and or Knit Picks / We Crochet links, they're available on my panels, and or if you're in my Discord, you should be able to go into the link channel, because I have a channel for my affiliate links, and it should be available there. Okay, not that dark purple. Maybe this, but not too much. I went blue violet, and what's this? Yeah, this is straight violet on top of that. But, oops. Trying not to be heavy-handed. Alright. And then come back with the light stuff here. Careful. I realize I've not been talking about terribly much else than what's going on right here today. That's mainly because I do not have terribly much to chat about in the current interim. Also, I think Jane had mentioned, didn't realize I have more emotes, but that's mainly because the follower emotes, so I got to add a wee more emotes in there, which I still have 1 or 2 to draw. I might play around with that later. Post stream if I get a chance to. We will see. Depends. Yeah, a little dark down there. And then where's nope. Gonna need a new one, I think. Yeah. Let's make sure I don't get okay, this is definitely turning out lighter than I thought it would be. But I did go over this with the lighter purple. I don't want areas getting too dark, so that makes sense. And I'm putting my hand right in, and that is not helping. Yeah, right on my hands. Cool. Whee! And gently got that over there. Have to be careful in here. Oh, I forgot to put my teacup in the sink when I got up for break earlier. So I guess about when I hit second break, which is apparently not that long. That happened quickly. I will probably have to do that then. Alright, cool. Yes. Can't believe I forgot that. I think because I was looking for any sort of baby oil, I forgot to get that done. So, it's not bad. Oh wow, that definitely came out lighter than I expected. Wow. Alright, so... Oh, and I thought I wanted to put a window there. Crap. Oh well. No window it is. I completely forgot I wanted to put a window there. Like, in there, because I felt it looked a little bit empty, but too late now. Too late now. Oops. Oh well. So, let me put another coat of white here. If this were a watercolor pencil, I'd be able to get away with erasing once it's dry. Which, given it's graphite, that hadn't occurred to me immediately. It wasn't until I saw somebody use, like, graphite watercolors, and then I said that, and I was just like, how did I not catch that? Because typically with regular watercolor, pretty much you can get a little bit off once it's wet, but actually lifting off color at times can be a bit tenuous of a task. To put it mildly. Alright, and where art thou? There. Let's just gently go in with this. Oops. Yeah, it's getting the brown in there. But I can go like that and that should fix it. I hope. Oh, wait, allow the edges to soften this bit out. And make sure I don't bring any of the brown into the steam bit. Okay. I could darken a couple more places, but I think it's mostly done. At least what I can do with what little I know on this right now. So, I could start another one of these once I come back from break. If you guys are into this sort of jam, also, what's that? Sorry, Discord alerting me of something. But given how many Discord channels I'm in, don't know what it is. Okay, nothing pressing. Cool. I will read that later. Awesome. Alright. Okay, wall area is dryish. So let me go back down there with a little bit of darker purple. Ah, damn it. Why? I put my hand right in the white. Ugh. Like, you would think I would have less trouble having my hand in the wet area of the thing. But no. No. Just put my hand right in that same area. Like, come on. Alright, and... I want to at least have a little bit of shading as the wall's concerned. So... Oh, that got right in there. Damn it. Why? Oh well. Oh, I apparently have this. Yeah, I can go over there and fill that bit of white space. Alright. How I feel about it. And I put the area I had white on my hands right in there. That's great. But given it's still wet, I can rub that off, which is cool. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to scrub off my hands at least. I feel like I've got this stuff all over my hands and it's bothering me. Alright. Yeah, I say this is about it for now. I say this turning out alright for my first thing with oil pastels. Although, definitely feels a bit flat in places. I could arguably have a little white in here. Blend that with this. And a little bit more white here. But yeah, it's about break time either way. So I probably should, actually take the break like I'm supposed to. She says as she continues to do the thing. Alright. So, let's leave this alone, although arguably I could put in a little bit more low light right there. In 1 or 2 spots. But other than that, yeah, I can just let this dry for now. Which I mean the stuff that I put in there to blend it out can dry. Which that stuff does dry. It's just the oil pastel part does not. So I'm gonna go take my second break. Also, I should probably have actual water. I haven't had any of that since I started because I've been like dead center and focused on this. Oops. Not so bad as it was before. So yeah, definitely I needed to wash my hands at least a little bit. Also, I can't tell if that's pilling or if that's from these. I can't tell. But more than likely might be from the paper. Given how rough I was in places. And, uh-oh, what is this? Blue violets? Let's see. Yeah, because I definitely need to get that. Let's separate from there. I know I said I was going to move on to another thing, but I kind of want to touch at this in a place or two, and then we'll do so. Also, I was having a random thought. Well, more like I had this thought earlier, and it just occurred to me. Maybe I can blather on about this for a little bit. But mainly, it's about that song. You know that Michael Bolton song? From the 80s. How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? Which, arguably, Fall Out Boy probably makes that song title look short. Given how long-ass their titles can be. And usually are. But yeah, I was honestly thinking about the song in general, like the premise of it, given one, the woman in his affections, who is, at least based on what I know, is getting married, and I don't know, at least if you just base it off the song lyrics alone, like, that they were actually in some form of relationship, like they were just friends, and he was just like, maybe one day she'll like me sort of deal. But she's getting married to another guy, which he can't seem to, fathom. Hence this whole song and dance. Well, obviously no dance, but, hence this whole thing happening. And it's like, even if there was a relationship and then she was like moved on, maybe, potentially she could have said, hey, maybe we'll get back together or something at some point, because because we're really good for each other, or whatever the case may have you. It's like, I just kind of feel like I want to say move the hell on and see other people. At least that's what I get from the song. I don't know if I'm wrong. I mean, generally as like a ballad, I do enjoy it. Plus, it was kind of his thing for a while, Michael Bolton. Well, that pretty much is his shtick, to be, melodramatic and forceful in his songs. But it's like, how am I supposed to live without you? Just feels like, you shouldn't hang your hat on one goddamn person. Like, that feels like a bad idea. Just maybe. Just maybe. Like, I don't know. Am I just reading too much into a song or what? I easily could be, because I overthink things, but, you know. That's just what I gleaned from it. Although it'd be funny if someone chimed in and asked what song I'm talking about. Because that's one of those songs that ends up in all those compilations. Especially in the 90s where they had those CDs selling of, like, all the greatest hits and whatever. That was definitely one of those songs that were, like, front and center right there. Because, you know, as a love ballad, face value, it makes sense. It's definitely full of raw emotion, but it's just like... Just the premise seems to bug me. For some reason. That premise just seems to bug me for some reason. Don't know why. Don't know why all of a sudden. But it kind of bugs me. I don't know, it was just a thought. I swear, I'm not always this highly critical of every song I listen to, but in this case, I felt like it was at least a tiny bit warranted. Although at the same time, you'll probably find me later being like, listening along intently, swept away in the emotion of it all. Alright. I'll just leave that alone for now. I'm just gonna keep touching it until I overwork it, and then I'll completely hate it. So, I'm just gonna let the stuff that I'm using on this dry, and then probably go over it with the spray paint. Not spray paint, the fixative spray paint. Although it's arguably in the same kind of can as spray paint, so probably why I said that. But that's not a finishing fixative, it's a workable fixative, so if I want to poke at it and or maybe add paint on top of it, I could do that and not mess with, you know, this bit underneath. Because I kind of want to maybe, given the whole galaxy vibe, maybe add a little stars on here. Maybe. Possibly. Who knows? Also, yeah, this looks a bit stark. I might have to add a little mid-tone in here. But I will let that hang out over here. And likely start another one of these. Also, man, this thing is covered in marks from the from the pastels. Okay, this is the textured side. Alright, what do I want to do now? Maybe do a mermaid tail. So, let's see. And then... And maybe a belt. So I don't have to worry about the face. Gonna keep them not, at least most of them not perfectly round, to at least have some sense of movement to the thing. Also, I didn't put this, well, I didn't close the thing, I put this back in, which is bad, although it's only been sitting here for like an hour or two, it should be fine. But you're supposed to put back kneaded erasers in the, you know, container it's in, because these things could potentially dry out after a while. Which, I have 4 in these, and this is still the first one that I've opened from, like, last year. I thought it would be a lot sooner, but apparently, these things definitely take a while to get used. And let's see. Do I want to add like an area to or for scales? Yeah. Maybe some of these like triangle-y looking ones. Although, yeah, that'd be better. Although I argue these are a bit long. But in general, I'm having fun with these oil pastels. Also, a lot less of a mess than I thought it was gonna be. Now that I know what the heck I'm doing to a small degree. Also. Yeah, I'll keep this shape. Although I really do want to play around with other shapes when it comes to scales. Although I do feel these are a little bit long. Like scales to be a little bit shorter. Like about here. Although I feel like with this I'll probably have to pre-blend a little bit in spots to avoid any issues going on. Alright, also, that song I was just mentioning is now in my head. Which is entirely my fault. I should have known. Especially with that prolific of a song. That was gonna happen. But you know, there are worse songs to have in one's head. Alright, is that? No. I guess some of the stuff must have got on there. Oh well. Let's lighten this graphite here. And then figure out what I'm going to be using for colors. I want to keep it slightly different from this. Also, no one is surprised I use so much purple in here. Email. Nothing important. Because my watch is vibrating. Because I did not put in Do Not Disturb mode because I figure I might get summoned by a parental unit to go and open the door, so it's better to have it on. So, yeah. Definitely going to be using more blues given water. Alright, and it's good to see that the stuff didn't interact with the graphite. Savvy, hello! I saw you had to end early. I just glanced at your Discord. How are you doing? How goes your Wednesday? I am playing around with oil pastels today. I felt like it. Plus I need to poke around in Krita. So far we've just done this, which, it's alright for the first time of me using this. Had a slight error here and there, but it's going alright. I'm glad to see you. Although I think I might add some gouache once I put fixative on top of this, because, you know, water and oil don't mix, so I'll have to add that on top of there in order to be able to paint on top of there. But we'll see. Loki finished my... Yay! Yay for finishing a thing, and very much fair. Been feeling weird the past day or two. Hopefully it's nothing. So we'll see how that goes. But I kind of want to see... How's your Wednesday? Not bad. Had to go out and get myself poked for medical reasons. Hopefully it should be alright. We'll see how that goes. Although, it was oddly one of the... probably one of the... I'd say, what's the word? Not best, but like least painful pokes I've gotten in a very long time. Because I have wee veins, unfortunately. So they kind of have a hard time finding them. So it's usually an adventure. But it depends on who I'm, like, where I'm going to. But it's like I didn't feel a thing, which most people say that, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I usually feel something. This time, I did not really feel a thing. It went smoothly. I was like, okay. That works. Alright, what I was thinking about colors. I kind of want some orange, some red, maybe some pink? Given how much purple I used in the last one? But yeah, that has been my morning. That was much early in the morning because I wanted to make sure I got that done so I'd be here. But I forgot how quickly that goes. No. Got blood taken for, again, checking on medical thing and stuff. Should be fine, but it's just a general check to see if things are alright in that area. But we should be fine. But in general, I'm not fond of needles, so anything, whether it be getting a shot or getting blood drawn, is not a fun time. And I will not go on too far in detail because I know that's not a thing people want to hear about. So I will not go too much further. Alright. Yeah. Same. Very much same. Alright, so let's see about this light pink. You know what? Oops. Well, actually, I'll leave that there. Yeah, having wee little veins makes it not a cool time. Ever. But other than that, I am having fun with this. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, because, going into figuring out a new medium blind is always a thing that it's like, don't know what you're doing, you could potentially screw up really, really badly. In this case, so far, it's going really well. Which, it does help I can blend this stuff having some baby oil. Which I was worried we'd run out of, but apparently we do have some hanging out in the cabinet. Which I'm presuming it is, because it's the same consistency, but a bit more watery. To me, anyways. Alright. And then, let's see. I'm just gonna shade in spots first before I start adding the solvent so I don't attack the paper too hard. Which, this is watercolor paper. Because when it comes to blending oil pastels and stuff, if you're going to use stuff like solvents and that sort of thing, according to my research, things like mixed media and watercolor paper are usually the best way to go about it, according to them. And so far it's been pretty good, not terribly much buckling. I'm trying to be careful about how much of it I add onto here. Oh wow, that's strong orange. That is a strong orange. Although it's gonna lighten up once I start the blending. But yeah, that is very strong orange. But given all these colors are related, given they have red, it should work out okay. I hope. That's a deep red. Which, what is this, scarlet? Yep, scarlet. That would be why. Because this is the same stuff that the same brand of watercolor pencils I have. So I can kind of tell, like, what colors are going to look like what. So I'm not going in completely blind, which is very helpful. Layer that with another thing of pink. See how that goes. Also, I was having a slight weird moment discussing, you know that song from Michael Bolton? How am I supposed to live without you? It just felt a slight bit codependent, like that was on my brain for some reason. Because I'd listened to the song and I'm just like, this feels like a bit much. You're drawing a mermaid, actually. Small. Just the tail, because I don't want to deal with the hair or the face in this. So the tail and then small part of stomach area, which I'll have to go in with a different color for that. So I'm just using down here. Oh, really? I knew someone was gonna say it, but yeah, this is one of those songs that are like in the... You know those music collections that they usually have? Of like, you know, songs of like the 80s, 90s. That's usually one of those songs you would find on there. Nice! Mermaids are nice also. I'd love to see the heck this thing is. Okay, that's what Discord's bothering me about right now. Okay, cool. I'll deal with that later. Alright, I could probably toss a good chunk of these because the color's gonna mess up. Which no one really uses these Q-tips, which is the only reason why I'm using them. So, let's see. Now that I've got that down, let's see how things blend. Which, this part is always cool, because you just see it go all solid like that. It's insane. Also, I think I'm gonna move this a wee bit down. Come back. Yeah. Probably gonna layer a little bit more of the pink on top of that. Even if blending with my fingers was really applicable, I'd probably still do this because it makes my hands at least a little less messy. Do 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 do. Have any commissions come your way? I'm curious because, you know, holiday season and all, so I figured this would definitely be a good time for you to be getting some, which I have stock one I need to start working on, and then Chamo one I need to finish, which that one definitely should be done this week, given at the pace I'm going. I know you've definitely been doing some stuff, but I'm just curious. Okay. Careful, don't get this on my hands. Let's turn this piece of paper around, which, by the way, this is, what is this, 9 by 12? I cut this in half. I was just staring at this thing yesterday. This is just Canson watercolor paper, XL watercolor paper, so I think 9 by 12? Let's see. Yeah, 9 by 12, so call it 9 by 6 because it's cut in half. Which I have 2 pads, and this is still the first pad, and I'm just like, still have paper forever. Because I gotten these on sale sometime, I think it was last year, if not that, the year before that, in Walmart? Because it's just like, you know, it was requested. We just haven't, yeah, obviously don't have to go into details, but I was just wondering. But yay! I do hope those come through. Also, I hope I'm not prying by asking that. Alright, let's see. The other one through here. And then... because that's red. I'll just switch to... ta-da! And then do the same for over here. Yeah, I might have to add some white and some spots, maybe. You're fine. Okay, yay! Alright. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, little spots in here need to dry. So I'll take care of the skin part up here. Also, let's not get this on my hand terribly much. Alright, skin. I'm gonna want some shades of brown, which the brown I have on this side of me. So, let's see. I'd say burnt sienna. A little bit of the yellow ochre in there. And then, what is this? Oh yeah, that's also yellow. But they both say yellow ochre. But the shades are completely different. Well, actually, no. They're actually pretty close, but they're similar enough to me. So if I do that, I might want to add a little bit of red. So it doesn't look like bleh. Alright. And then once I do with here, it's gonna be me getting blue. And probably little bits of green on the outside. For the water and the bubbles. My knit scarf. Ooh, nice. I might consider putting my hat pattern on my Etsy thing, but I think I might just put it on Ko-fi instead. Which I do have it mostly set up, I just need to get it done on there. But definitely yay for that. Alright, and little bits of red. Which that's a deep red. I probably should have gotten the other red. Because I know I have a lighter shade of red going on. I think over here. Well, remember you can put digital things on there, so arguably you should be able to put patterns onto Ko-fi as well. So as long as you have like a document or a PDF, that should be viable. Oops. Alright. Let's see how this turns out. If I hate it, then I might be able to fix it. Oops. Don't do that. Okay, yeah, I might have to lighten in some areas, but this should arguably work as a color, specifically for a skin tone. Alright, let's see. I should have checked if these lines were flowy enough, but it should hopefully work. Alright. And let's see, do I have a darker pink than this? Okay, this. This should arguably be darker than that. If I want some really nice low lights, that would probably work. Ribbler, yeah, I had the hat pattern on Ravelry a while ago, but I took that down a while ago when the accessibility issues started cropping up over there. It made no sense to have it on there if not everybody could get on there. Plus, I kind of feel like I'd be an ass if I left it there. Not that I think anybody would say that, but you know. It wouldn't feel right if I did so. Let's see. But what's Ribbler? I don't know Ribbler off the top of my head. But given, I don't really know much about PayHip. I know it exists, but I don't really know PayHip either. In the sense of, people who are unable to look at it for, like, say, seizures and migraines and that sort of thing. That thing, which I think some people still don't have, are able to look at their rivalries for that particular reasons. Yeah, no, that's been a thing for a while. Which, they have a dark mode, but even then, it doesn't really fix the issue at hand, to my knowledge. But you would think something like accessibility would be, a top priority. But, apparently not. Oops. That went outside the line. Oh well. It's fine. I'll live. It's like Rafa, you can make patterns in the app which are completely protected from piracy, as so many... Ooh! That's definitely good to know. Let me go and put that in Google so I will check it out later. Alright, search Google. Is it just an app only? Because it's not coming up in my Google search. What's coming up is a bicycle company. So I'm suspecting it might be app only. Although even then it should come up. So I might have to suss that out a little bit later. Alright, so let that dry. And... Alright, blues. It's a website too. Okay. Then I'm not sure why it's not coming up. Because I put Ribbler there and it did not come up. I'm not sure why. But it could just be the thing being weird. So I'll probably poke at that later. Let's see. That should be arguably my lightest blue. And then I need some blues and greens. Make sure to outline where the bubbles are, so I don't go over that for now. Also, how much time do I have left? Oh wow. I could go a wee bit over, but not terribly much. I did not realize I was that close to 4 o'clock already. Whoops. My brain just kind of zoned into doing the thing, as I am wont to do sometimes. Okay, also, so far, the thing is not warping, so we are cool. Yeah. And if anybody wonders what I mean by warping, I mean the paper's not bending. Which that would be only happening if I put a ton of the oil on here in a certain spot, thus wetting the paper. Which it's made to take the water, so not the worst thing ever. Alright, let's see. Bluish green color, what is this? Oh, turquoise blue. Nice, alright. And then a bit of this turquoise blue and then carefully. My main annoyance sometimes when it comes to doing stuff like this is going from, you know... Okay. My main annoyances with this sometimes is going from the sketch to the final thing. You sometimes tend to lose, like, the movement of it. Like, it feels more stiff. And that's one of those things I'm trying to work on. Whoops, come on. Also, I might do a bit more of this later offline. For the fun of it. I really am enjoying working with this. Although this whole thing is probably going to need some white in some places. Alright. And... where is it? Here it is. Let's see how this goes. Given I left a bit of space, it's basically filling up the areas I put color in. Wing, do 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 do. Gently. Just my usual watercolor paper. So, this stuff. Oh, I cut the thing in half, so... Canson XL watercolor paper. Not the best paper, but it does well in a pinch. I just have to make sure I don't, you know, work it too hard or else it'll start to pill. So, doing this sort of thing, it'd probably be better to have a thicker watercolor paper. Like, say, let's see, how many pounds is this? 140? Yeah, it holds up well enough. Plus, I'm making sure not to use too much of the mineral oil. And then try not to work the space too hard. Because especially wet, that's gonna really cause it to rip. But I really do want to try some arches when I want to make something I'll save. There. I've not tried their paper. But given how much of this I have, I like to use this. Blocks are too... I just tape them. Yeah. I have never gotten a block of anything watercolor paper-wise, but I can imagine given the quantity. Especially in the fancier and nicer stuff. Also, I'm not sure if you heard what I said earlier when I was talking about why I have more emotes, because I have follower emotes now, which I still have 2 more to fill in that space. Yeah, ooh, nice. Haven't had the... yeah, that is fair. Alright, wait. Well, how much time are we going at here? Okay, it's just after 4. So I'll give it, like, just a little under 5 minutes, and then I'm probably gonna head off for today. Which, honestly, I would love to hang out with you guys a bit more, but it sounds like I'm being summoned to do stuff. So... probably gonna see about that. Plus, I think we're gonna probably have some laundry. Oh. Let's get this stuff off the edge here. I forgot the other color was hanging out on here. Because it's white. Aw, thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it when you guys get to show up. Although I am sorry your stream had weird glitching and such going on. Because that's never fun. Alright. Alright, and... alright. Let's see. What else? I think I want a lighter orange, because this was, like, a bit too dark. I hadn't used it before, so I wasn't sure how dark it was. But let's see if I can get, like, yeah, this is like a sunflowery, marigoldy sort of color. And then have that mixed with the pink a little bit. But yeah, I argue this is probably going to be a little bit on the stiff side. Alright, let's see. Oh wait, yeah, that's a different one. Whoops. That's for up there. This one, that. Let's get that. And then there. Oops. Although I have the cardboard there, so it's fine. And then there it is. Alright, so I'm gonna let that hang out for a bit, and I think I'm gonna go. Also, yeah, my hand's starting to get covered in the stuff again. So I'll definitely need to wash my hands again. Joy. There I am. Yeah, I have a face. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it while I worked on playing around with this, which, yeah, I think I'm gonna spray some stuff and then get some, what's its face? And gouache on top of this to add little bits of detail here and there. This one I really do like a lot. Which I did not intend for this to look so galaxy looking up here, but I'm not mad at it. I definitely had some fun. I don't think I missed anything going on here. Savvy, thank you for the host once again. I don't believe I missed anybody else at the moment. Nope, Bams. Also, thank you for your host if you're lurking. Hi, hopefully you guys had a good time. I will be back again Friday? Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday, so Friday. So, you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Is there anybody I can host doing the art stuff right now? I think there should be at least 1 or 2 people, because there typically are. And what did I do with my phone, so I can go look via my phone? Oh, it's out here. That would help. Let's see. Ah, okay. I have not been over there in a while. So it definitely wouldn't hurt. Ah. What did I get all the alerts for? Let's see. Let me open this thing. Twitch. /TV. .TV/. Wow. You would think I'd know how to type a link by now. Lady Frenzy is crocheting right now, actually. Although, arguably, there's not much people doing art right now. There's frogs and glasses right now. But we can go to Lady Frenzy anyway. So, I am cool with that. Although, let me go here so I can actually pick up the thing. Let's see, where am I? I don't think I've been to her stream since I've gotten this computer, and that was in February, so I don't think it's gonna pick up. Plus, her name sometimes is a little bit hard for me to type. It's a different size in letters, which that is not an excuse, it's just more of a thing. The guy doing... Ah! It's German and already off. Aw! I said host, not raid. Thank you. Yeah, we'll go with KB. It's fine. So let's see. Let me type that in. I'm gonna stand here and do that because easier for me to reach. Alright. Mute tab so I don't get screamed at by an ad. Usually watch muted. Okay, not a problem. But yeah, I'm gonna go on the end screen so you don't have to see me just standing here.